So I wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about the recession that is coming. So the Fed has been estimating that there's a 2.4% contraction that's going to happen in Q1, mostly as a result of lower exports, as a result of the Trump tariffs. Obviously, we're going to be exporting less, as also importing less. That's going to cause a contraction. Eventually, it's going to hit people, right? Because people will start losing their jobs, less money in the economy will be flowing. And so a recession is official once 2 quarters of contractions happen. Recessions are mostly not predictable, but in this case, because the tariffs are so severe and severe with big import export partners, trade partners with us, they have a significant impact on the economy. And this is exactly what they talked about. It's going to be quote unquote hard times that are coming, that the economy is going to contract for at least 1 or 2 quarters. 2.4% is kind of significant of a contraction. It's a moderate recession already. So between 2 and 5% is a moderate recession. It could be more because these tariffs are only starting to be implemented in March. They were moved from February to March. They're just now getting implemented, and Canada, Mexico, and China are retaliating with tariffs as well, creating all-out trade war, which then obviously causes the contraction. So this is just 2.4% down with March, and an increase in imports in January and February in anticipation of the tariffs. So the rest of the year probably looks worse if you're having such significant reductions in March. Now, one would think, and the original thought process was that these tariffs were going to be temporary and were a way for Trump to get these partners to the negotiating table. And you would think that, but they haven't been. The negotiations happened in February and weren't necessarily fruitful. And really, the point was more so to have this kind of all-out trade war. And Donald Trump has said it himself, right? It's really about bringing American-made goods, American manufacturing back. And if you're making goods in the United States, then that's going to obviously help the economy. But until we get there, it's going to be a recession until we get there. And this is the thing. Companies can't just pick up and move manufacturing facilities. They might have a $1 billion facility in Germany or a $400 million facility in China, and they're not just going to drop it and move it to the United States. Those things take 10 years to happen. So, maybe they'll open up a new facility here and start creating goods here. And that's what Audi and I believe Volkswagen is doing, in maybe Porsche as well. They're going to be opening factories, or at least there's rumors that they want to open factories in the United States to avoid the tariffs, especially if they're going to be prolonged. So that's the goal, right, is to get them to move here. But again, those things take years to take place. The other thing I want to say is that this is probably illegal, the tariffs, because Congress is the one that can impose tariffs, not the president has claimed extraordinary powers, emergency powers, because there's an emergency with the fentanyl crisis. But that argument doesn't really hold water because there's, I believe it was like 43 pounds of fentanyl that came from Canada. Very little. Most of it probably comes from the Mexico border. Trump is claiming that a lot of it is manufactured in China and then comes through Mexico. A lot of these arguments don't necessarily hold water. Plus, again, in his public comments, he has talked about the fentanyl crisis. But this trade war isn't about that. This trade war is about import-export, trade, the economy, American manufacturing. That's what this is about. And those things need to go through Congress, and it hasn't properly gone through Congress. So I'm sure there will be lawsuits. I'm sure this is going to go to the Supreme Court. They're going to determine whether or not these quote emergency powers are legal in any way. Anyway, Wanted to say all that, but the main topic is, or the main conclusion is that there's a recession coming, so people need to prepare accordingly. Make sure that your savings are good. If you have a recession proof job, keep that. Don't try to get a new one at this point. We'll see how it goes, but here we go.